Musa decided to turn back. He had no money, no eggs to sell, and no way to reach Cairo. He could not keep going. His dreams of a new life seemed impossible now. With a heavy heart, he began the long walk back to his village. The road was long, and the journey was tiring. Musa's legs ached, and his feet were sore from walking in his old shoes. As he walked, he thought about everything he had learned. He had learned that dreams don't come true quickly. He had learned that success takes patience, and that rushing without thinking can lead to failure. Along the way, Musa met other travelers. Some of them were carrying bags. Others were leading animals. Some were singing softly, while others were lost in their own thoughts. Musa stopped and talked to a few of them, hearing their stories of hardship and hope. He realized that he was not the only one who had struggles. Everyone had their own difficulties, but they kept going day by day. Musa felt a little better after talking to the other travelers. He began to understand that failure was not the end. It was a part of the journey, and it could teach him important lessons. He had lost the eggs, but he had not lost himself. He could still work hard, learn from his mistakes, and try again. After many days of walking, Musa finally reached his village. He was tired, his clothes were dirty, and his heart felt heavy. But as he walked through the village, he saw familiar faces, his family, his friends. They were glad to see him, and they welcomed him home with open arms. Musa felt a little ashamed of what had happened, but he knew he had to be honest with his family. He sat down with his parents and told them everything: the dream he had, the eggs he had lost, and the mistake he had made. His parents listened quietly, and when he was finished, they both smiled. "It's okay, Musa," his mother said. "We all make mistakes. What matters is that you learn from them and grow stronger." His father nodded. "Yes, you will have many more chances in life. Just remember to take your time and be patient. Don't rush your dreams." Musa smiled weakly, grateful for their kindness and understanding. He knew that his journey wasn't over yet. He had learned an important lesson. Patience was key to success. The road ahead would not be easy, but he was ready to work hard and make better choices. As the weeks passed, Musa began to change. He no longer dreamed of quick riches or a life of luxury. Instead, he focused on working hard and taking care of his family. Every day, he woke up early to help his father in the fields. He took extra care with his work, making sure he did everything slowly and carefully. He knew that success would come, but it would take time. Musa also helped his mother more around the house. He learned how to cook simple meals and wash clothes. His hands grew rougher, But he didn't mind. He found joy in the work, and he learned that sometimes the little things in life were the most important. The villagers began to notice the change in Musa. He had become more patient, more careful, and more focused on his work. He was no longer the young man with big dreams of becoming rich. Instead, he was someone they could rely on, someone who worked hard and treated others with kindness. Musa found happiness in the simple life. He no longer needed to dream of big cities or fancy clothes. He was content with what he had: a loving family, good friends, and the peaceful village by the Nile. He had learned that true happiness came from patience, hard work, and the love of those around him. Musa's life had changed. The day he returned to his village, he had felt lost and disappointed. But now, with every passing day, he began to see the beauty in the simple life he had once taken for granted. His dreams of a grand life in Cairo had faded, replaced by a quiet contentment that he had never expected. His hard work in the fields, the laughter of his friends, and the warmth of his family became the things that mattered most to him. Musa's hands, once rough from the hard labor, had grown stronger. His muscles were toned from working in the fields with his father. His clothes, though simple, were clean and neat. He had stopped complaining about his old shoes because he had learned to appreciate them. They had helped him walk back to his family after his failure in Cairo, and that was something worth being grateful for. Each day, Musa would wake up early to help his parents. His mother was always busy with the housework, and his father spent most of his days in the fields, tending to the crops. Musa had learned to take on more responsibility, and he found satisfaction in helping them. He no longer dreamed of a life of luxury in Cairo. Instead, he found joy in his family, in their simple home, and in the peaceful rhythm of village life. One afternoon, as he was working in the fields, Musa noticed that his neighbors were looking at him differently. They had seen the change in him. The villagers were beginning to admire him for his patience, his hard work, and his kindness. They saw him as someone who was strong, not just in body, but in spirit. Musa had become someone they could depend on. As the seasons passed, Musa's life slowly improved. He continued to work hard in the fields, but now he also saved a little bit of money from his small earnings. He started to buy things to make life a bit easier for his family. A new basket here, a sturdy tool there. Little by little, he was able to make improvements. He didn't need much, just enough to make life a little bit better. One evening, as the sun was setting, Musa sat by the river, watching the water flow. He thought about the dreams he had once had, the dreams of a life in Cairo. He realized now that those dreams were not bad, but he had been in too much of a hurry. He had wanted everything too quickly, and that had led to his failure. But now he understood that success came slowly, over time, with patience and hard work. Musa smiled to himself as he sat by the river. He knew that he had a long road ahead, but he also knew that he was on the right path now. There was no need to rush. The small, simple life he had was rich with meaning. He had his family, his friends, and his community. He was no longer just a boy with big dreams of wealth and fame. He had become a man who understood the value of patience, kindness, and hard work. As Musa's life in the village settled into a routine, he began to look around at the people around him. He saw others who, like him, were struggling. Some of them had big dreams of their own, just like he had once had. They were working hard, but they were still poor, and their dreams seemed far away. Musa remembered how he had felt when he first left the village, full of hope and excitement. He remembered the fear and disappointment when his dreams were dashed. He decided to help them. He knew what it was like to struggle, and he wanted to make their lives a little easier. At first, Musa didn't have much to give, but he had learned that even small gestures could make a big difference. He began helping his neighbors in whatever way he could, helping with the harvest, fixing things around their houses, or even just offering a kind word. One day, a young woman named Layla came to Musa for help. Layla's family was poor, and they had a small farm that was not doing well. Her father was sick and could no longer work the fields, and her mother was too tired to do everything on her own. Layla had been struggling to keep everything together, and she was afraid they might lose their farm. Musa listened to her story with compassion. He could see the worry in her eyes, and he knew that he had to help. He didn't have much to offer, but he had learned a lot from his own struggles. He offered to help Layla with her farm, using the skills he had learned from working with his father. Together, they worked hard to fix the farm, planting new crops and tending to the animals. Over the next few weeks, Musa worked alongside Layla, and her farm slowly began to improve. The crops started to grow stronger, and the animals became healthier. Layla was grateful for Musa's help, and as she spent more time with him, she began to see that he wasn't just a hard worker. He was a kind and caring person too. Musa never sought anything in return for his help, but Layla couldn't help but feel drawn to him. Musa, too, had started to notice Layla's kindness. She had a gentle way of speaking, and her eyes shone with warmth. He admired her strength, how she worked so hard to take care of her family. Over time, they became good friends, and their bond grew stronger. They shared their dreams, their struggles, and their hopes for the future. Musa realized that while he had once dreamed of a big, fancy life, now he found happiness in the simple things, helping others, working side by side with his friends, and sharing small joys. As the months passed, Musa and Layla continued to help each other, and their friendship grew into something deeper. They began to spend more time together, talking and laughing. Layla's family was doing better, and Musa felt proud of the role he had played in helping them. But more than that, he was proud of the person he had become. He had learned to live with patience, humility, and kindness, and those qualities had brought him closer to the people around him. One day, as they sat by the river, watching the sun set over the water, Musa turned to Layla and spoke from his heart. "Layla," he said, "I've learned so much in the past year. I came to this village thinking I needed to leave everything behind to find happiness. But now I see that happiness is here, with the people we love and the work we do. I don't need anything fancy. All I need is this: my family, my friends, and the simple life we share." Layla smiled, her eyes soft and filled with warmth. "I feel the same way, Musa. I once thought I had to escape to find a better life, but now I see that the best life is the one we build with the people who care about us." Musa reached out and took Layla's hand. They sat together in silence, watching the stars appear in the sky. In that moment, Musa knew that his journey was far from over, but it had taken him somewhere important. He had found what he had been searching for all along: peace, love, and happiness in the life he already had.